I didn't even flinch. The microphone was still warm from my daughter's salutatorian speech when John grabbed it. His voice was steady, perfectly rehearsed. "I have chosen to begin a life without you." His announcement echoed through the venue, slicing right through the applause that had just died down. His lover, yes, his lover, was seated among our acquaintances, chin slightly raised, smiling faintly as though she had earned the right to the spectacle. The air instantly became glacial. Friends, family members, instructors, even my daughter were stunned into complete silence. And me, I simply offered a composed smile. I leaned forward, my hands completely calm, and stated, "My compliments on your forthrightness." My voice remained perfectly firm. Not a single tremor. Then I reached into my bag, retrieved the legal document, and presented it to him. I kissed my daughter's forehead, whispered, "Your achievement fills me with pride," and calmly walked out before anyone could fully grasp the massive shift in the atmosphere. Behind me, I distinctly heard the sound of paper being viciously ripped, followed by his agonizing scream. I first met him in a period of such blinding emotional euphoria, the kind of light that completely masks every flaw. He was engaging, ambitious, the man who promised, "I recognize you. I truly see you," and I completely fell for it. We built a home, a family, evenings filled with laughter, mornings intertwined with genuine affection. He convinced me that integrity was his fundamental principle. And for a long time, I allowed myself to live with that illusion. But betrayal always starts subtly. A mobile phone constantly placed face down, frequent, uncharacteristic showers, business trips that never came with receipts. I didn't have an outburst of fury. I simply observed. I identified the exact rhythm of his deception. His spoken words stopped matching the look in his eyes. His touch felt less like a gesture of love and more like a mere chore. The definitive proof arrived in the form of a lipstick stain. Not on his clothing, but on a discarded coffee mug I found hidden in his car. A shade of bright crimson I had never worn. I refrained from confronting him. Not then. Rage is messy. I prefer surgical precision. I became essentially invisible within my own residence. Quiet, compliant, intensely watchful. While he was preoccupied with maintaining his secrecy, I meticulously charted the entire structure of his lies. The late-night electronic messages, the clandestine meetings, the way her fragrance clung to his clothes like a permanent signature. Every single minute, detail became essential ammunition. I accumulated bank records, call logs, lodging receipts not for vengeance, but for irrefutable proof. I hired the services of a barrister who was both discreet and completely meticulous. I legally secured joint financial assets he thought were still accessible. I transferred substantial funds into my sole legal ownership. He had completely underestimated me, seeing me as passive. He mistook my silence for utter ignorance. That was his fatal error. 2 months before the graduation ceremony, I formally filed the papers without warning. My lawyer delivered the documents to his corporate headquarters, not our house. No drama, no warning. By the time he comprehended the gravity of my actions, his bank accounts were frozen. The property was legally secured. The investments were entirely beyond his grasp. But that wasn't the full extent of my plan. I dug deeper. His mistress, our supposed friend, was employed by a competing company. I tracked communications that confirmed she was not just his lover. She was a professional saboteur. She had been systematically draining proprietary information, critical transactions, and key clients. He thought it was a true romance. She was financially debilitating his entire career from the inside. I organized everything neatly within that envelope. The formal divorce decree, the records of asset transfers, and the complete documentation of her treachery printed in vivid color. Screenshots, emails, undeniable proof that, while he was secretly deceiving me, she was simultaneously betraying him. I executed the timing perfectly. Graduation day, our daughter radiant in her cap and gown, diploma in hand, the one day he believed belonged absolutely to him, his personal platform. His ultimate announcement, and that was the exact instant I presented him with mine. The scream that followed me out of the auditorium was not simple hostility. It was pure, unadulterated panic. He cried out her name, his voice breaking, while she sat completely motionless in her seat. Friends turned to her, gossip spreading like an immediate fire. I didn't need to see his face to know the color had completely drained from it, that he had finally understood too late what the envelope contained. His career collapse, her professional perfidy, and my definitive exit. He had planned to publicly humiliate me. Instead, I orchestrated his total unraveling in front of everyone. Who truly mattered? That successful father of the graduate, the accomplished executive reduced to a pathetic spectacle. And I walked away, my heels clicking purposefully against the polished floor, without ever looking back. Subsequently, when his desperate calls began, I steadfastly refused to answer. When the text messages contained desperate appeals, bitter curses, and abject begging, I permanently muted them. He was no longer my responsibility. My daughter called me that night, her voice laced with uncertainty. "Mom, are you truly okay?" I conveyed the simple truth. I have never been better, because betrayal failed to crush me. It honed me. It instilled in me supreme endurance, intricate planning, and the absolute power of silence. He presumed he was simply replacing me with a new partner. But when he tore open that envelope, he finally grasped the reality. He was not the person leaving. He was the one who had been definitively left behind. I had already secured his position in every way that truly mattered. His wealth, his public reputation, his most guarded secrets were all laid bare. At my daughter's commencement, he announced his liberation. What he never realized was that it was, in fact, mine. And when he screamed, when the entire assembly recoiled from him, I experienced only absolute clarity. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it waits with infinite patience, and sometimes it offers a serene smile before presenting you with a simple envelope.